What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with yours, Kwame Fisher Jones. As always, I am him. And I'm joined by an unprepared, apparently moving phone with a spotlight in the background. Everett Terry Jr., aka Sports Talk Terry. What's good?
Hey man, don't start your stuff
I
today,
cut you off
okay?
surprise. I cut you off
10
guard.
9 876ers. Let's go.
All right. So I just wanted to do a
Call me where you call me. 10 9 10
I
9 876ers.
wanted to do a show solely on the Lakers and their perspective from the trade. I felt like the last show we covered, one of my favorite phrases ad nauseum, we covered the impact it would have on the league. We covered the impact it would have on the Mavericks. But I want to spend a few minutes on this segment specifically about the Lakers. Now, one of the big men, as you were speaking, that I was thinking about, because the Lakers need they well, first, I'm going to pose a question to you. And you start out simple. Are you keeping Austin Reeves? So he's why he's working through his technical problems. We'll get there in a second. When you add a Luka Doncic, who's a ball dominant, and when you say ball dominant, you just don't mean ball dominant in the sense that, yeah, he needs the ball to score, he needs the ball to be explosive, he needs the ball to do these things. When you say ball dominant, Luka is a guy that's his only effectiveness on the basketball court is with the ball in his hands. He's not a effort defender. He's not a good defender. He's a wretched defender who can be isolated in space, who can be isolated through pick and rolls. He's a guy that isn't going to be back when you run a pick and roll, or excuse me, when you run any type of backdoor play. He's not a guy that's going to be in the drop. He's not going to be anywhere there. He's a guy whose effectiveness on the court is strictly regulated to him having the ball in his hands. Now, LeBron James can play at spots off the ball, but at 40 years old with over 500,000 miles on those legs, he's not a guy that's going to be able to carry you through a playoff series off the ball. Now, he can affect the game in so many different ways. He'll find a way to prove that wrong in certain junctures of the game. But let's call a spade a spade. He's not a guy that's going to be able to hurt you without the basketball. Austin Reeves is good as he's played. I feel like he's a guy that benefits from something, a phrase that I've coined, where low expectations, high acclaim. So he's coming into the league. He didn't have any expectations. When you watch him play, he doesn't have any expectations. So if he's functionally good, you're like, oh, wow, he's a pretty good player. And if he has been at times magnificent, and at times he's been a great player, he's not a great player. But at times he's been a great player, you're like, you overvalue him. So again, low expectations cause overvalued results. Now, with that said, he's got a modest contract, but he's another guy whose effectiveness is limited to him having the basketball. I don't believe Austin Reeves can be an impact player off the ball. So now you've got your three best players needing the basketball, and it's kind of like, well, everybody needs the ball to be effective. No, not necessarily. You have your three best basketball players needing the basketball. So the question is very simple for you, E. Before we get into who they should go after, what they need, are you keeping Austin Reeves? For me, I say to get the type of player that they're going to need, they're going to have to move Austin Reeves. What say you?
I'm gonna lead by saying yes. I think that the upside downside is that he's exactly um who is a movable asset on this roster to get them where they have to go. I don't think that with the
But
guys they
are
have
you
on the
moving
teams
him?
he on. Well, I'm getting ready to say that. I'm moving him simply because if they're trying to compete even beyond this year, they have too many redundancies and not enough guys to fill in the spaces and the gaps. So I move him simply because you get value for him. Now, here's the thing I was thinking about, right? Because you know how we talked about this and said, hey, if we go through it, we've noticed like, oh, this came to me, this came to me. What if the Lakers kind of had an idea that this was coming way before it did? And here's why I say that. They traded D'Angelo Russell about a month ago and nobody knew why. Like they just randomly, just out of the blue, just offloaded him.
I
Oh,
can
he's
answer that question.
deloading. They don't like him. They don't want him. Da 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 da
JJ
da.
Redick
And
didn't
then
want him.
people thought that they were clearing space for De'Aaron Fox. Now all of a sudden they get Luka, and it makes a ton more sense because D'Angelo wouldn't have been able to play with Luka on the roster. But it makes a ton of sense now that you offload D'Angelo Russell, and then 3 weeks later you add Luka. We don't know how far back it was that the Mavs approached the Lakers about this. I don't think it was something that they came to him yesterday and all of a sudden they said, sure, let's do it. I think it was something they probably talked about for a couple of weeks. Got the players together,
Disagree,
worked out
but go ahead.
compensation. Well, there's also a third team in the mix. So there's a lot of moving parts here. You got to get physicals. You don't know what Luka's injury was looking like because they didn't know how long he was going to be out. They probably wanted to wait and see what the doctors were saying a few weeks later. Like,
You
I
can
don't think they
win.
just came to him. I don't think they came to him on Tuesday and said, hey, let's trade him. And they traded him on Saturday. Like, I think they probably
I
talked
think
about
that's
it
how it
a few
happened.
weeks in advance.
I think that's
I
exactly
don't.
how it happened.
I
And
don't.
well, hold on. Let's stop at that light, because this is going to play a role into the next things you say. Not only do I think that's exactly what happened, I believe that's why the Lakers were caught so off guard with how they approached their roster in the trade. The Mavericks approached them and they wanted Anthony Davis. The Lakers, if they had an idea they were going to be getting rid of Anthony Davis, they would have traded for some bigs when they got rid of D'Angelo Russell. They would have got somebody. That's why I say they didn't know. And to say it was a third team, no, they didn't have a third team. They called Danny Ainge. Floor is yours.
I mean, but then he still was a 13 that got back Hood Scafino and a pick. So he just
Danny
got
Ainge
something out of the
trades
deal to get something.
toothbrushes with his kids in the morning. Like, dude, I'll trade you my
Oh
toothbrush
man.
for your
Oh
toothbrush. Like,
man, that's
oh man.
terrible. I
No,
mean,
so
I
go
love
ahead.
the trade though, and I think that Austin Reeves has to move. They need to get some depth. They definitely need front court help because Rui is nice, but Rui's an undersized power forward at 6'8". You
Really?
know, he's
So you
not.
get rid of Rui?
No, I'm saying he's undersized at six
Okay,
eight, like
okay,
he's
okay,
undersized
okay.
power forward. So I mean, he has value. He's a guy that doesn't demand the ball. He hits a lot of different stat categories for you. Hustles hard, cool, no problem. But he's not the traditional four that you need when now you're thinking, oh, he got to go up against AD, and we got to go up against Joker. Like, who do we have? Like Jackson Hayes is nice, for about 10 minutes a game, but what about the other 38? So they need a big, they need a guy that can come in and defend and play the position. It makes a lot of sense for them to make the trigger on the trade. Um, I don't know how it looks or how it goes. I think that, like you said, I mean, we talked about this earlier. Maybe a Wendell Carter who's sitting there wasting away in Chicago, gets no minutes, can
No,
come
Wendell
over.
Carter's in
Vucevic.
Orlando, and
Oh, that's right. He got drafted by the Bulls and went to Orlando and wasting
yeah,
away there, getting no minutes. So you get a Wendell Carter, or you go and you get a Vukovic from the Bulls, who are always hovering around like sub 500, ninth seed playing every year, despite their roster. And then you build out from there. You go and look at the teams that aren't playing for anything. You know, you go and talk to the Sixers and say, hey, you know what?
oh
We know you're
god,
not
okay,
we know you're not trading Embiid. We get it. You love McCain. You get it. We love Maxey. Hey, but what's up with Gershon Yabusele, who's been putting up numbers at a high clip because he's getting all
no,
these minutes. A nice guy who comes in and helps you, high effort guy. He reminds me of. He reminds me of who was the guy that used to run around and dunk all crazy, the big man. Didn't do much, but just dunked and grabbed rebounds, super athletic, real Nene Hilario. He reminds me of a Nene. Like, he's not gonna hit you with a 15-foot step fade, but he can
Hilario.
catch and dunk the ball, and just play within his skill set, grab
When
rebounds,
keeping it
hustle.
real goes wrong, they need
Hey,
Hilario
listen,
enters the
listen,
conversation. All
listen,
right, let me
listen.
save my
Or
guy.
or or I got another one. Or I got
Okay,
another one. Kenneth, the animal. Hey, go get the manimal. You need a Fareed type guy who's going to come in there and do something to that elk. That's
okay,
what they're missing. A
okay.
high energy guy that's going to rebound and hustle and get the ball in the outlet to Luka to come down and jack a three from half court, or throw it to
Well,
LeBron, who's
here's
going
the
to take a
problem.
three fade away or whatever.
Here's the problem. I need your help here while I'm speaking. I don't believe the Lakers have any shooters on their roster. And by shooters, I mean guys that can hit open shots. That's the first thing. So the reason why I bring that up is in order to have a Fareed type player, and in this case, we're talking specifically about a Clint Capella type player, a guy that's
I mean, I
active.
love Dalton Connect. They got Shake Milton. They got a couple guys out
Well,
there.
Shake Milton's interesting because Shake Milton actually
He gets
can
no
play
minutes.
off the ball, but and JJ has a relationship with Shake. He's familiar with Shake from their time in Philadelphia. And for those people who don't know about Shake Milton, Shake Milton is a guy that came from SMU. He's bounced around a lot in the league, and he's essentially your 6'2", 6'4". He's in that range somewhere, and you can fact check me on that 6'2", 6'4" range. But he's a guy that can score. Shake can get you buckets. The problem with Shake is he's an unorthodox scorer. What does that mean? Put that in layman's term, Kwame. What that means is he's a guy that doesn't get to the rim. He's a guy that isn't a prolific three-point shooter. He's a guy that is a late in the shot clock, multiple dribbles, 5 dribbles or more, guy that needs to have that to score. He doesn't score great through contact, but he's efficient through contact. He can score with either hand at the rim. He's a guy that has all 3 facets of the game, meaning he can get you to the basket, he can get you mid-range, and he can get you to long distance. But he's not a volume shooter, but he needs to get more than 10 shots to be effective. So he's kind of
I got something for you too.
Hold on. Let me finish before you drive off on me. So he's a great guy to keep an eye on. That's a good pull for you because you can play LeBron, Rui, Shake, Luka lineup. Now
you can.
I want to go back to this point. Clint Capella was a name that I threw out there. I don't believe Capella could fit because they don't have a well. I'm wrong. Because if Luka's Luka, and you have to pay attention to Luka coming off that pick and roll, and that creates that space for Clint Capella. Go ahead. You want to throw a point out there?
Yeah, so I have one.
You can't go radio silence on me, baby.
No, I'm not going radio silent. But you know who I have in my mind who fits and makes a lot of sense here that nobody's thinking about? Whatever happened to Christian Wood? He's been out injured, but he was clear for contact a month ago.
Mental issues. I said mental issues. That's disrespectful. Let me bring that back. He is having issues outside of physical.
Of course, yeah. I saw the whole thing with the baby mom and the kid and all that.
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's it, but I'm saying that he's unreliable. Now, another guy I want to throw out there to you.
How you cut me off and then let me finish what I was saying?
Okay, my bad. Well, I didn't want to stay with Christian Wood too long because I don't know.
I was only throwing him out there as a forgotten guy, but here's another piece, right? And this is a trade that makes a lot of sense. And I literally saw it come up across my ticker maybe, I want to say 5 or 6 minutes after the Laker deal. Listen to this. Now, you tell me yes or no. The trade is the Raptors receive Rui Hachimura. Hold on, give me a second. The Raptors receive Rui Hachimura.
You said you tell me yes or no. I'm doing a deal with the Raptors.
You didn't let me finish the trade. Let me finish it.
You did. You
Rui Hachimura, my man. Are you going to give me a second? Rui Hachimura. A couple of picks. The Pacers, listen, the Pacers get Jakob Poeltl and a 2031 first round pick, and the Lakers get Miles Turner. You still saying no?
Yes.
You're not. No, you're not. Miles Turner's a huge upgrade. A shot blocker who doesn't need the ball, who plugs right in and can play.
Well, all right. Go ahead, because I interrupted you twice.
The Lakers need. That's exactly who the Lakers need. You plug a Miles Turner in with this roster, now Rui is fine. Rui makes sense because you got a shot blocker and a rim protector. So Rui can roam and not clog the paint. You got a guy that's going to catch the lobs, defend, and rebound. So now LeBron and Luka don't have to.
I can shoot. He can shoot.
Miles Turner can shoot. And he can shoot.
Especially from the top of the key. Top of the key, center court, Miles Turner. You know, this is why I need a stat boy. Miles Turner, I want to say, is in the high 40s for that 3 from top of the key. Here's why I said no to deal, and I explain why too. No to you. I don't believe Miles Turner is worthy of a extension, meaning he is up contract-wise, I want to say this year or next. So he's going to want an extension. I'm not really looking to make that deal, only because I've got to give Luka Supermax, and I don't know what my team's going to look like next year. Now, if I add Miles Turner, does that make me a championship contender this year? So that's why I'm not making that move. But guy that I want to throw at you, 2 names I want to throw at you. They're 2 different type of players. I mentioned Wendell Carter, but I want to step back in a sense. The guy that plays for Orlando won't cost you Austin Reeves. Probably will cost you Gabe Vincent, who was not going to get minutes anyway, and maybe a second-round pick, maybe even not a Finney Smith, a Vanderbilt. But I would make the move for him. Jonathan Isaac.
Oh, God, no. Hell no.
Okay, well, hold on. A lot of people don't. You know me. I watch a lot of Orlando Magic games. Jonathan Isaac is not a tremendous shot blocker, but he is one of the best on-the-ball positional defensive bigs I've seen in the league. There's not going to be a lot of opportunities
that he plays.
But there's not going to be a lot of opportunities for pick and pick and rolls right now with the Lakers only because I really don't believe they have anybody that you would be concerned about shooting the ball. Another guy I really would, and this is a guy that's going to cost you probably Austin Reeves, but I think you can have him going forward. But you're still going to have that hole in the middle, meaning you're not going to have a tradition, not a traditional, but a better on the ball defender at center. Nick Claxton. Brooklyn re-upped
The
him,
net,
so he's under contract.
The Nets ain't making no more deals with the Lakers, man. They don't the Lakers, man. They don't the Lakers,
That's
man.
funny.
After
If
that
it's going to give
D'Loading
you
deal, they
Austin,
don't
if
the
it's going to
Lakers,
give them
man.
Austin Reeves, they make the deal. But I like Nick Claxton because it gives you a more
I like Nick
active
Claxton
defender.
too.
Here's what we both agree: the Lakers are going to have to look,
or
at,
even Mark Williams from Charlotte.
That's an interesting pick. Let me pose this question for you: can you
To
win with a
keep
guy
KL
from
Carter.
Charlotte on your roster? Can you win with a guy from Charlotte on your roster? Are they so contaminated?
Stop it. Stop
Why
it.
am I? Why are you saying stop it?
Stop it.
PJ Washington came from Charlotte
and went to Dallas and did fine.
He played well in Dallas. I'm trying to think of anybody else. They had the young man Kai. It's not Kai Sanat, but they had the young man Kai.
Yeah, he's not even in the NBA right now. The crazy one who was 22 years
Exactly.
old talking about he was going to be better than Jordan.
And they've had a couple guys. Book Knight was not a bad player coming out of Connecticut. They've ruined him.
Malik Monk's done fine.
He's done. Malik Monk's done fine. This is his third team since Charlotte, B.
Well, that's because he had to put the bottle down. As soon as he stopped drinking, he got fine. He had to get sober. That was his problem. He had a drinking problem in Charlotte. He admitted it. It's not something that's hiding. They put him in rehab, and now he's fine.
Okay, but that you went to specifics, but saying in general, Charlotte players have a hard time. They have a difficult. We don't have to look past LaMelo Ball. We can start there. LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is
he's got all the talent in the world, but can't stay healthy.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of LaMelo. I mean, yeah, he's not playing because he's got injuries, but I think it's a matter of there's something going. There's a stench in Charlotte, and it's hard to get that off now. But going to your point,
every team's got a stench except for come on, every team doesn't have a stench.
When you have
maybe the players just need to play better.
When I say teams have stenches, it means that they have some sort of cultural issues that is impacting some of the good players that they've had.
Yeah, but you said about like half the teams in the NBA.
I just said that about Sacramento and Charlotte. Just said about Sacramento and Charlotte.
No, you said about the Pelicans too. Yeah, yes, you do. You said
about
multiple teams.
I did say about the Pelicans.
I feel like, come on, like that was like you said, grinded them up for like an hour.
No, you're right. The Pelicans, the Kings, and the Hornets. Those are the only teams I said about.
The Wizards, like you said about a bunch of these de facto teams that are bad.
You're right. I said about the Wizards too.
I definitely heard you say about the Wizards. Like
the Wizards too. No, you're right. You're right. The Wizards. All right, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Kings, and who else? The Pelicans. Those are the only 4 teams I said about.
Man, this list gonna be
hard to get off. But you make a good point. But those 4 teams. So going back to the Lakers, I don't believe the Lakers can make a Austin Reeves move if it doesn't impact them going forward. And what I mean by that
they don't want a rental. They want a guy that's under contract.
Exactly. And that's why I said no to
Miles Turner would need a re-up, and that's probably why he doesn't get traded.
So I really, 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 really like Nick Claxton. I really like Clint Capella. I really would love to see them add a Claxton and Isaac just because they need, or an Isaiah Stewart out of Detroit. They need a physical guy, not just
Beach too. Well, hold on. Before we get down and say we can't pull the trigger on the trade, so AD and Luka are pretty much swapping out salary, maybe give or take a little bit, right? You're picking up Maxi Kleber, who's a white version of Rui Hachimura. Okay, cool. But if you offload Austin Reeves and put a little bit more to it, I mean, Miles Turner's only on the books for $22 million. He's a free agent who signed a 2-year deal 2 years ago to play for Indiana. So I don't think it's going to cost you a supermax to get him to stay, especially in LA. You say to him, listen, you get to be in LA, you get to play with Luka. Let's do 4 years, 80. He'll sign 4 years, 80 to stay in LA versus ending up in purgatory in Toronto somewhere, or down in like you or in Charlotte. Like he'll go.
Let me ask you this:
take more money to stay
there. Do you want to be tied into Miles Turner LeBron James and Luka Doncic for the next 3 years.
For what Luka and Miles Turner, because you need guys to play certain roles and play them well. You know that for what's out there in the league, could you go get a Vucevic? Yes. But Vucevic scores and rebounds, but doesn't block shots and defend the rim well. Right. And he's pushing 30. So and it's crazy because I remember when the Sixers drafted him like 15 years ago, and I'm like, how's he only like 30 something? Like he should be closer to 40, but that's neither here nor there. He stayed moderately healthy. You know what you're gonna get with him. It's gonna be somewhere around 18 and 11 a game. That's what you're gonna get. But he doesn't impact the game defensively because he isn't a great shot blocker. Okay, I love Jakob Poeltl, but the problem with Jakob Poeltl is Jakob Poeltl is a guy who suddenly now is getting the ball more and now he's getting injured more. Okay, there's no way you're going to get a Vika Zubac from the Clippers. I would love a Vika Zubac to come next door and come play for the Lakers, but the Clippers would never let him go.
No, Vika Zubac is a conversation. Why is Zubac even in the conversation?
I'm saying bigs that make sense. You're not getting Zubac. So who's out there that you're going to get? Miles Turner is the next best shot blocking big man that's available that the Lakers have a legitimate, realistic chance of getting without having to sell and mortgage everything on their roster. Do I give up AR-15 and send him out there to Tyrese Haliburton and the boys for Miles Turner? Sure. Send them on back. Whatever the deal is, make it happen. Now, they're saying it probably will take Rui and some picks. All right, bye, Rui. You're out of here. We got Maxi Kleber. So you run Turner, Kleber, Bron, Doncic, and whoever you plug in at the other spot. And play ball, Vanderbilt. And call it a day.
All right.
That's what you do. I love Miles Turner here.
I want to progress the conversation forward. So let me just say this. The reason why I wouldn't make that trade, and full disclosure, I wanted Miles Turner in Dallas 2 years ago.
I know you did. I remember we talked about it.
Yeah. My only concern is I don't believe Miles Turner is worth $20 million next year. And I don't believe
the CBA going up, the number going to be crazy.
Yeah, but it's still the
20
salary
is dropping a bucket.
And this is the question I posed to you, and let me move the conversation forward, and let's stay and I'm gonna go this. If you add a Miles Turner, or you add a Nick Clatt, or you add a Miles Turner, you add a Clint Capella, because those trades are going to cost you Austin Reeves. Does that win you a title, or at the very least put you in title contention next year when your three are Capella or Turner, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic? Because that's your three.
Not with Clint Capella, but with Miles Turner, yes, because Miles Turner can body up. He can body up a Joker. He can body up an AD. He's not going to sit there and be expected to hold him to 0 points and 0 rebounds. No, but they're not going to go for 40 and 23 on him either. And he's going to make them work hard on defense, which gives you opportunities to get out in space, transition basketball, playing a Lucas strength, playing what Bron does best, and then you just surround the rest of the roster. You fill it out with shooters. Clint Capella, no, because Clint Capella has shown since he got that big contract in Atlanta an inability to stay healthy, and he lost his job to a rookie. So to me, there's concern about his motor.
Huh? Not pretty good rookie. I don't mean pretty good rookie. Pretty active rookie. So let's move forward. One more name I want to throw at you before we let you go. One more name I want to throw at you before we let you go, because I got you ready to go. And just hear me out before you instantly say no. There's a team, right, that has a roster full of athletic wings and a big man who was part of an NBA Finals team who averages 18 and about 17 and 9, who can play on the ball defense and who can also be a shot blocker. And he was also in Luka Doncic's draft. Would you be considering kicking the tires in DeAndre Ayton?
Dominating?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Would you consider kicking the tires on him? And
if it doesn't cost you much, yeah.
It's not going to cost you much.
Would I give up AR-15 for dominating? No. But if I can get him and keep AR-15, absolutely. Because now he gets to go be the third option. He gets to go to a team where he's the third option. He's not going to be the first and the second. He'll be the third option at best. He's going to get all the grunt work.
Why wouldn't you give up Austin Reeves? Why wouldn't you give up Austin Reeves?
Because, I mean, he's stuck in Portland, who's going nowhere. And they've got enough wings. They don't need another wing. They've already got Simons and Shaden Sharp, and they don't need another wing. They need a guy that's going to fill
a veteran
in that
player.
spot.
They need a young veteran player that hasn't.
They need a young veteran. All right, so Rui Hachimura is available. You can take Rui back in these picks.
Get Rudy away.
Some sand.
I'm ready for 2 for 5 on the block right now. I got them WMDs. I got Rui Hachimura. Thank you. Let me tell you something,
That's
man.
what we got.
I don't. The reason why I throw dominating out there, and it's the reason why I wanted to end the show with it, because he gives you something that a lot of teams don't have. He's a guy that can play the 4 or the 5. He's a guy that's been reasonably healthy, despite all his warts and despite his. People want him to be more like his namesake, dominating, but he is available. And I steadfast and stand on it, 10 toes down. Austin Reeves doesn't fit. He doesn't fit. So
I'm
you
not saying
need
that
a
he
big.
does, but you get value for
And
him. Trade him, get some value.
and they also have you throw Shaden Sharp out there. You've got Gerald Wallace, Shaden Sharp, and I don't like this kid. I don't never liked him coming out of the draft. I don't think he's gonna be a good player. He's been a
Scoot.
disappointment thus far. Yeah, I was just about to say. So Portland's got a bevy of bodies they're trying to move. So you could
If the trade is Austin Reeves and I'm getting back Scoot and dominating, okay, because now you get a backup guard who's going to come off the bench, give you quality minutes. He can fill himself out in LA. He's going to have a little more leeway to kind of play, not pressure of being the top 3 pick and be a franchise changer like a Cade
I like
Cunningham that he's
Bronny
not.
James more than I like Scoot Henderson.
Good night. Drop safe, man.
I like Bronny James more than I like Scoot Henderson. I don't like anything about Scoot Henderson's game.
Man, get home safely.
I feel like you can add a third team into that trade. And that's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point I was trying to get to. Well, the third team is going to have almost first. Your boy. All your boy on line 1. Trading Danny. Because Danny's just buying time till Cooper Flagg comes to Utah. And
that's all you know,
I ended
Cooper
the show
Flagg
last.
Utah, baby. Listen,
look,
he may give up Lauri Markkanen.
No. Now you're giving up they're gonna keep Lauri. They're gonna keep Cooper Flagg.
If they called him and said Rui Hachimura and AR, Rui Hachimura and AR-15 for Lauri Markkanen. I'm driving Rui to Utah.
Do you know how much money? And we have gone off the deep end, and I'm gonna just end it with this. Do you know how much money the new millennium Boston Celtics, aka the Utah Jazz, with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale, fast forward to Lauri Markkanen and Cooper Flagg? You know how much money
they're gonna kill that Mormon community? They're gonna crush it in the Mormon community.
Mormon community when they in that division in Minnesota and Portland.
The Utah Church Bells. They're gonna change their name to the Utah Church Bells.
They would be the hottest ticket in town in that division. You got Anthony Edwards going up against great Cooper Flagg and Lauri Markkanen and Danny Ainge, who saved the Boston Celtics from Ime Udoka, who was contaminated. Like, dude, come on, man. That story is already written, bro. So Lauri Markkanen ain't going nowhere. Lauri Markkanen ain't going nowhere. Think about it. You heard about his name, and then when the season started, Danny said, wait a minute. We could possibly get Cooper Flagg.
We can stink bad enough. Listen, Jordan Clarkson.
They signed Lauri to an extension. They suck. They've won 12 games, and that dude is making money. You don't hear a peep out of Walter Kessler.
They told Jordan Clarkson, listen, we need you to fake this hamstring injury for 4 months. Just slow walking back. We ain't no rush.
Like Rui. But there's a good trade that Danny could throw in there. You could throw that in there.
All right. I like a Jordan Clarkson coming back in the deal, back to LA.
Moving the show along, being silly, talking about Cooper Flagg to Utah, which I definitely will put as a skit out there. But
hey, listen, you better take some futures on that of the Vegas line. If they're paying like plus 2,700, go lay $100 on Cooper Flagg.
But if you watch the show and you gamble, put money on. He'll tell you. Very rarely do I tell people put money on something. Or and when was it? The Falcons? I told people put money on the Falcons, win the 7-8 games. Told people put money on the Commanders. I'm telling you right now, Cooper Flagg to Utah, Walter Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, and Cooper Flagg will be in Utah next year. And the NBA ain't going to market it for what it is, but we all
This is the Adolph Rupp Kentucky Wildcats in 1960.
On that note, that is it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. He is Everett Terry Jr., Sports Talk Terry on all social media platforms. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. We appreciate your time and your ear. Until next week, be easy.